fall off. Now they holler he'll turn, thinking I'ma sell out. Talking just to feel heard, I never listen, although they say it's strictly. Welcome to Quick Hits. I'm your host, Shannon Smith, a.k.a. Podcast Smitty. If you're new to the show, what's good? I'm Shannon. I'm a fan of sport. And Quick Hits is dropping weekly to discuss headlines in the field of sports. So if that's what you came here for, go ahead and give this video a like. Get into those comments. Let's talk some sports. But most importantly, go ahead and subscribe to the Boom Broadcasting YouTube channel and go through the plethora of podcasts that we have in the field of TV and movies, sports, and sports entertainment. Now, I want to say thank you to everybody that tuned in to Tuesday's episode of Quick Hits, my Fan of Sport Tuesday, which was on my birthday. Never thought in a million years I'd be doing a podcast on my birthday, but I did. And I feel very, very happy about it. I thank you guys for tagging along and being on there with me. Talked about KD's new home in Houston. Talked about John Cena's pipe bomb. Talked about the NHL. Talked about Major League Baseball. Talked about BKFC and UFC. Barrage of sports that we talked about. Had a great time. I thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you for tuning in. But if you missed that episode, don't worry. I got you. We're on the Boom Broadcasting YouTube channel. We're on demand, so you can watch it anytime you want to and anywhere that you want to. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But also, too, we had podcasts come on throughout the week because, Monday, of course, we've got podcasts going on all through the week. On Monday, my man Jason Colenso dropped this 3 from deep from Camp Colenso. He's on vacation with his family, but he came in there to talk about the NBA Finals, talk about free agency and trading and the draft on 3 from deep on that Monday. And of course, mounting off with Mike the Don. That's my guy. He came in there for the closing. He came in there to close it like it was baseball. Closed down the Monday with the nightcap, talking about Monday Night Raw, talking about the episode as we lead into Night of Champions, which is tomorrow night. And then later on, Carson Williams and Aaron Schneider make their season premiere of Hoops and Helmets, getting back on the live, talking about the first round of the NBA draft. Carson wasn't able to be there the other night, but he decided to come in there and give his thoughts on the first round of the NBA draft. He's the basketball side of Hoops and Helmets, but also to Aaron, who's the football side of Hoops and Helmets, held it down on the live on Wednesday night for the first 20 picks of the NBA draft. He had some friends on there. Myself and Jason Colenso and Sean Lucas got onto the thread, got onto the live stream. We started talking about the draft. We had a good time. We appreciate you guys watching. If you missed it, again, you can watch on demand on Boom Broadcasting. And our Mr. Baseball, Mr. Chris DeLuca, got on and did his Dugout Debrief podcast on yesterday, talking about Ron Washington, talking about the All-Star ballots. He's big on that baseball. Great analysis that he gives on the Dugout Debrief. Once again, if you missed any of that, sorry about that. If you missed any of that, get on to the Boom Broadcasting YouTube channel, and we'll have everything on demand so you won't miss a thing. So what are we going to be talking about today? Of course, it is WNBA Friday here on Quick Hits. I'm going to be going over this past week's big games, going through the big time performers, giving the scores, what game surprised me on the WNBA recap in the beginning. And of course, I've got some topics that I want to hit on. Asia Wilson being the fastest player to 5,000 points happened this week. Great milestone for a great player. Going to talk about the emotional roller coaster that is the Indiana Fever. And going to talk about the injury to Jonquel Jones. What's that going to spell for the Liberty? What will we expect to see from them? and the WNBA All-Star vote getters. Who was surprising? Who was not so surprising? Who do you want to see in there? That's what we'll be talking about. And of course, we'll be getting on those power rankings for this week. And we'll be having the games and the schedules and what big games we'll be seeing coming up this week. That's what I have in store for you here on the WNBA Friday episode of Quick Hits. So without further ado, let's start the show. Let's get this WNBA recap started as we begin with last Thursday, as we had two games come on. The Phoenix Mercury defeat the New York Liberty 89-81. This is the Liberty's first home loss this season. Monique Okoa-Makani, the rookie, showing up big in this game, 21 points. And then the game to end it for the day, the late game, was the Golden State Valkyries defeating the Indiana Fever 88-77. Now, shout out to the Golden State bench outscoring Indiana's bench 35-17. And you know what? The Golden State Valkyries, they're looking at the league saying, what expansion team? Natalie Nakase, who is the head coach of the Golden State Valkyries, her first year as the head coach of the squad, as the expansion team that they are. She's got this squad ready to go. This squad here has a synergy of European players, has some vets that have been in the WNBA for a while, has some rookies on this squad. So, with an expansion team, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what you're going to get out of this team, but they're playing some very good basketball, and they came up with a very key win on last Thursday. Then we go to Friday, as we had we had 3 games. I'm sorry, on Friday we had 3 games. We had the Atlanta Dream defeat the Washington Mystics 92-91. Atlanta, they're a scary squad. They are a very good squad. I think Jason Colenso was on to something when we were talking on this 3 from Deep episode, when we were analyzing the WNBA before we began. And he said that Atlanta might be a good squad this year with the addition of Brittany Griner. But the fact that this squad is just a scoring machine, Bree Jones, Rain Howard, and Alicia Gray, they're playing great basketball right now. Very good scoring team. Brittany Griner in the post, they're just a scary squad. And I think they're going to make some noise in that Eastern Conference, make some noise in that WNBA, which they already have been doing. And the Dallas Wings, the next game, they're up against the Connecticut Sun. They win it 86-83 in Connecticut. Dallas, this is their first time winning back-to-back games this season. They've not been having the best of seasons. They've been rebuilding a little bit, of course, with the first pick in Paige Becker, playing good basketball right now. Dallas getting on the back-to-back wins. And, of course, the Connecticut Sun, unfortunately, just that team that's just been kicked around. And we'll be seeing more of them in this recap. And the last game for Friday was the Seattle Storm defeating the Las Vegas Aces 90-83. This is Asia Wilson's return after missing 3 games due to concussion protocol. She had a double-double in the game. Of course, another Asia Wilson type game. The double-doubles are there. Unfortunately, on a losing end, Nneka Ogwumike, Miss WNBA president. 25 points, 12 rebounds. Skylar Diggins, 24 points, 6 assists. They're a great 1-2 punch in Seattle. This is a great duo. They're playing very good basketball, very good offensive duo here, and they showed that against the Aces on Friday night. This is the first time this season that the Aces have lost 3 straight games. We're not used to that with the Vegas Aces. They're a squad that wins, and they win in bunches. They're a very high-functioning squad. But this year has been some ups and downs, a little injury problems, a little synergy problems on the team. Coach Becky Hammond, she's going to get that taken care of. I believe that she will. the great coach that she is, the team just has to get on the same page. And then we go to last Saturday, as we had two good games here. The Phoenix Mercury defeating the Chicago Sky 107-86. Phoenix hit a franchise record 17 3-pointers. It was raining threes for the Phoenix Mercury. High-functioning game on offense. Everyone hitting all their shots from three. And Chicago just couldn't, they just couldn't guard. They just couldn't defend. And Phoenix gets a big win. And the Minnesota Lynx beat the Los Angeles Sparks 82-66. Nafisa Collier was a scratch for this game. She has the nagging back injury. She did not play in this game. But Kayla McBride, 29 points, 9 of 13 from the field, 5 of 7 from three. She got it done. She took care of it. The Minnesota Lynx get the win. And this past Sunday, starting off the week here, Atlanta defeating Chicago 93-80. Not really much to say about that game. Atlanta took care of business. But this game, Washington defeating the Dallas Wings 91-88. The game went into overtime. Sonia Citron, 27 points, 11 rebounds, and the game-winning three with 12 seconds left in overtime. Send it in, Sonia. 3-ball from the rookie. Great play to end the game. I like this Washington squad, though. I think this Washington squad is great to watch. Brittany Sykes, who is their main scorer. She wasn't the main scorer in this game, but you can't deny Brittany Sykes how well she scores. Kiki Arayafin, who was the Rookie of the Month in May. Kiki played outstanding basketball. USC with Juju Watkins, first year in the league. Her and Sonia Citron were the 9th and 10th pick, back-to-back to the Washington Mystics, playing great basketball. You'll hear a little bit about Kiki later on. And then Shakira Alston as well, too, 4-year player from Ole Miss. She's been scoring very well. They have a great mix of vets and rookies. They're doing great. They're playing good basketball. They're trying to get themselves established. I believe they are just a little bit under 500 right now, but they're playing great basketball. Very offensively sound basketball. They've got a few kinks to work out, but I think they'll get it in time. Washington defeats Dallas 91-88 in overtime. And the Las Vegas Aces turn it around and defeat Indiana 89-81. The Aces have beaten the Indiana Fever 16 times. The last victory that the Indiana Fever got against the Vegas Aces was August 27th, 2019. They've been beating them for that long. Tough day at the office, tough time for the Indiana Fever against the Las Vegas Aces. We go later on to Seattle defeating the New York Liberty 89-79. Seattle winning 6 of their last 7 to that date. The New York Liberty committed a season high 21 turnovers. That is uncharacteristic from a New York Liberty squad that is very careful with the basketball and knows how to secure it and knows how to score with it. So that's not good. Big win for the Seattle Storm. And the game to close it, the Golden State Valkyries defeating the Connecticut Sun 87-63. Once again, Golden State is saying, what expansion team? Who are y'all watching? That's what they're saying. They're playing very good basketball, and they played very well against the Connecticut team that cannot catch a break. And then we go to Tuesday, which was your Quick Hits Host Podcast Smitty here. It was my birthday. So there was a barrage of games on for my birthday, which was the 24th of June. Washington starts it off with a big win against the Minnesota Lynx, 68-64. Nafisa Collier once again missing another game due to her nagging back injury. Shakira Alston what I was talking about before. She's lit up the stat sheet these past 3 games, scored 28 points, scored 21 points. She scored 19 in this game. Washington getting the win against the Minnesota Lynx. Chicago with a big win against the Los Angeles Sparks, 97-86. Camila Cardoso, 27 points. Angel Reese, 18.17 rebounds. For those out there who only watch TikTok and don't watch the games, yes, I'm calling you out because I know how some people are. They look at social media, they don't watch the full games. But 12 of those 17 rebounds that Angel Reese grabbed off of the glass, 12 of them were defensive rebounds. 5 of them were me-bounds. Quit calling them me-bounds. They're offensive rebounds. It's called the offensive glass. Learn your terminology for basketball. Stop being narrow-minded. You never called them me-bounds when Dennis Rodman was getting them. You never said that. So make sure you understand. Some people specialize in rebounds. So for those who didn't watch the game, there you have it. And Camila Cardoso, she's going to miss the next 4 games for the Chicago Sky because she will be in Chile with the Brazilian national team representing them in a tournament there. And Courtney Vandersloot, successful ACL surgery on her right knee. Glad that she is okay. Unfortunate injury for Courtney Vandersloot, but glad that she is all right. And we move to Dallas, defeating Atlanta. A big win for the Dallas Wings, 68-55. Arike Ogunbowale, 21 points. And Paige Becker, in all 12 of the games that she's played, she has scored double figures in all 12 games. Dallas is outscored Atlanta's bench 21-5 in that game. Big game for the Dallas Wings. And Indiana defeating the Seattle Storm 94-86. Alea Boston, big time play from Alea Boston, 31 points. That's a career high for her. And Kelsey Mitchell, 26 points, 5 3-pointers made in this game. Now here is something very interesting. Caitlin Clark held to 6 points in this game. In the last 3 games she has played, she has shot 10% from 3. Uncharacteristic from one of the most fluid shooters in the WNBA. But you have slumps like that sometimes. It's a mental thing. CC can get through it. She's been through slumps before. She's hit them. She's hit shots from everywhere. It's a mental thing. She'll get it right. And of course, Wednesday. You had 2 games on Wednesday. The New York Liberty defeat the Golden State Valkyries 81-78. Even in a losing effort, the Golden State Valkyries are saying, what expansion team? They were within 3 of the defending champions. Says a lot for an expansion squad. Says a lot for the New York Liberty, which we will be talking about later on. And the last game for Wednesday was the Las Vegas Aces defeating the Connecticut Sun 85-59. 7 straight losses for the Connecticut Sun. When it rains, it pours. Marina Mabrey was a scratch for the 2nd game in a row with a knee injury. That is your WNBA recap. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with more show. And we are back for more of WNBA Friday here on Quick Hits. Let's hit these topics right here in the WNBA. These are topics that I've been thinking of for the past week, analyzing these games, analyzing what I'm seeing in the news regarding the WNBA. We will start with a milestone here. A'ja Wilson, reigning MVP of the league, 3-time MVP, 1,000-point single season scorer, cover lady for the 2K, for NBA 2K, first lady to do so, hits another milestone, 5,000 points in a career. She's the fastest player to do so, taking her 238 games to do so. Fastest of any player in the WNBA. Breanna Stewart did it in 242 games. Diana Taurasi, 243. And Angel McCoughtry, who was a fixture for the Atlanta Dream for a while, she did it in 257 games. Now, this is a big deal considering the fact that A'ja Wilson is 28 years old. She's the youngest of the players to do this. A'ja's the only one of those players to score 1,000 points in a single season. That's a milestone within itself. Only player ever to do so. There have been 28 players that have scored 5,000 points in the WNBA. A'ja Wilson was number 28 to do so. She's the only one to score 1,000 points out of all those ladies. Now, I know there'll be people that'll be watching this and they'll say, well, A'ja has played in more regular season games because the length of the season. Now, A'ja scored 1,000 points last year and she did it in 38 games. The WNBA has evolved from 28 games to 30 to 32, 36, so on and so on. They extended the season this year to 44. So there's more than likely going to be another player, I would dare say this year, that will score 1,000 points this season. There might be more than one with the way that the season has evolved. But with that being said, A'ja is one of 9 active players on this list of 5,000 point scorers. You have Tina Charles, Dewana Bonner, Nneka Ogwumike, Brittany Griner, Jewel Lloyd, Breanna Stewart, Skylar Diggins, and Kayla McBride, who have scored 5,000 points in a career. Now, Diana Taurasi is the only 10,000 point player in WNBA history. With the way that the game has evolved and the way that these players are scoring at will, especially this season, we will see more 10,000 point scores. We'll see more 1,000 single season point scores as the years go on. But the fact that A'ja was a trendsetter already and did that, she's got to be considered one of the greatest scorers in all of the WNBA. There's so many great scorers out there. You've got Maya Moore. You've got Swin Cash. You've got Sue Bird, Lauren Jackson. You have so many players who are prolific scorers in the WNBA, and the fact that she is being uttered in the same breath as these ladies is great. Now, all 4 of these players that were the fastest players to get to 5,000 points, they're all future Hall of Famers. Angel McCoughtry is still an active player. She's not announced her retirement. Diana Taurasi is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer as soon as her eligibility comes up. She's already in there. She is the greatest scorer statistically in the WNBA. I dare say she's the greatest scorer of all time. And Breanna Stewart, when it's all said and done for her, it'll be the same way for her. She will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. More than likely, she will get to 10,000 points. She's 30 years old. So there's a lot of basketball left with A'ja Wilson and a lot of basketball left in Breanna Stewart. So there's going to be more basketball coming. But for the time being, A'ja's ability to score everywhere makes it possible for her to be here. And that's why she's such a prolific scorer. That's why she was drafted to the Vegas Aces. They like the fact that how she can score with the basketball in many different ways. So A'ja, congratulations. 5,000 points for A'ja Wilson. Miss 5,000. Congratulations. Now let's talk about this roller coaster emotionally known as the Indiana Fever. The Fever are the 8th best team in the WNBA. They've had some great things going for them. They've had some great things currently going on with them right now. Caitlin Clark She's off to a hot start. She was on the shelf with the quad strain, Sophie Cunningham. Her jersey sales have went through the roof after the foul that she administered as payback for when Caitlin Clark hit the deck after she was pushed by Marina Mabrey in the Connecticut Sun game. She did the foul, and she got back at that team and said, don't do it again. And everyone looks at her as a hero, as the perfect teammate. And yes, what she done was great. I liked it. I saw no problem with it. Glad that there was no suspensions handed out during that. It's competition, guys. Chill. And also, too, the Atlanta Dream will be playing in the Commissioner's Cup next week. So the highs are high for the Indiana Fever, but the lows are low as well, too. Stephanie White has had some personal problems where she stepped away from the team. Caitlin Clark has been on a cold streak, 10% from three. She's been struggling to make shots. Also, too, DeWanna Bonner. She was waived by the team. She wanted a trade. She didn't get what she wanted. The Indiana Fever tried to find a trade partner, couldn't find one. So there's been some things that have went on with the Indiana Fever that are not so great. What does that mean for the Indiana Fever? These are roadblocks that all teams have. The fact that this team has played very, very well. They've had their lows. They've had their struggles. I think one thing that's going to help them out is that they've learned how to play amongst this slump that Caitlin Clark's had. She's a great shooter. She knows how to shoot from anywhere, hit it from the logo, hit it from anywhere. She's a great shooter from the perimeter. She knows how to make plays on offense. But also, too, she's got players on her side that can score. Leah Boston showed that she can score. Kelsey Mitchell, same way. Lexi Hull, they've been playing very good basketball right now. They've been scoring without Caitlin. She's had her little trouble with the scoring, but the squad itself is still playing. And that's what makes, that separates good teams from great teams, is playing through that adversity. Now, the Fever, they'll see the Dallas Wings tonight with Paige Becker playing. I don't know if Caitlin Clark's going to be playing. She's going to be sitting out. She sat out on Thursday. Don't know if she'll be suiting up tonight. But I think it'd probably be best to have her wait for the Commissioner's Cup on Tuesday. Get her ready to play. Don't rush her back into the lineup and get ready for that Commissioner's Cup, which is going to be a big game because Nafisa Collier more than likely is going to be playing in that game because the Commissioner's Cup was won by the Minnesota Lynx last year. But this is going to see where this team is. And what needs to be understood is this is a young squad. This is a young team. DeWanna Bonner was brought in for veteran leadership, but apparently she doesn't want to do that. So this squad is going to have to learn how to handle adversity themselves as a young unit. They've got great stars on that team, but once again, they're still getting used to the game in the WNBA. So this is some growing pains for this Indiana Fever squad who can still play very formidable basketball. And speaking of pains, the New York Liberty are experiencing a pain right now as Jonquel Jones will be out 4 to 6 weeks with an ankle sprain. Jonquel Jones, this is hitting the Liberty very bad. They're showing signs of weakness without her, although Breanna Stewart is scoring at will. Prolific scorer that she is. Sabrina Ionescu, the great perimeter shooter that she is. Sabrina Ionescu has had pain in her neck. She's had that trouble, and Jonquel Jones not being in the lineup shows. Jonquel is another good shooter. She can hit shots from the perimeter. She knows how to back down. She can play in the post. She's a very good defensive player, and she can clear the glass offensively and defensively. That is something that is hard to replace. So the Liberty are going to have to play without her. They're going to have to lean on Breanna Stewart. They're going to lean on Sabrina Ionescu. They're going to have Natasha Cloud playing well. They've got to have them playing at a high level to keep them going. Sandy B is going to have those players in rotation. They're missing Jonquel. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Liberty bounce back from this. And last but not least, you have the WNBA All-Star vote getters. Of course, surprise, surprise, in the Eastern Conference, Caitlin Clark is the number one vote getter. In the Western Conference, it's Nafisa Collier. Both these players, of course, they deserve the flowers. Then later on, the rest of the players, Alea Boston, number 3. Asia Wilson, number 4. Breanna Stewart, number 5. Paige Becker at number 6. Kelsey Mitchell at number 7. Sabrina Ionescu, number 8. Lexi Hall, number 9. And Kiki Arayafin at number 10. So you've got some rookies in there. You have some rookie players that are in this, or that are on for the Eastern and the Western Conference. So we'll have to see. I'm very surprised to see Kiki Arayafin in there. She's played very good basketball. No knock to her. It's just good seeing some fresh faces in there. Not surprised with Paige Becker. Not surprised with Alea Boston, Asia Wilson, Breanna Stewart. Not surprised at all to see them. So, with that being said, your main topics are done. We're going to hit these power rankings as we speak. So we'll be right back with those power rankings and the schedule, and we'll end the show. And we have your power rankings for the WNBA, my top 5 teams in the power rankings here. I actually have 6 because I got to give an honorable mention. I would be remiss without saying this squad here, even though they may not be in my top 5, they have to be mentioned. They're my honorable mention team, and that is the Golden State Valkyries. This squad has played very, very well. Tiffany Hayes, great play from Kayla Thornton, great play from Veronica. Great play from them, Veronica Butler. Very good play coming from this team. They don't care if they're an expansion team. They're still playing good basketball. And I'm liking it. It's very, very good to see. So Golden State is my honorable mention squad. Number 5, I've got the Seattle Storm. When the Seattle Storm are on, when it is a good game for them, it is a good game. But when they're off, it shows. But they're my number 5 squad because they're still dangerous. Best 1-2 punch in the league with Nneka Ogwumike and Skylar Diggins. That's my number 5 squad is the Seattle Storm. Number 4 are the Atlanta Dream. They took a bad loss to Dallas, but that squad is still dangerous. They're still a good squad. They still have the great play of Bree Jones. They still have Alicia Gray, who many believe should be in the conversation for MVP. She's played great this year. She's been very, very instrumental on the offensive end, very good on the rebounds. Atlanta has a good squad with Brittany Griner being added on, Bree Jones, Alicia Gray, Rain Howard. This squad is dangerous. When they get hot, and they can hit shots. Rain Howard leads the league in threes. 3-pointers made, her percentage. So she's tough when she gets that ball in the corner 3 or from the perimeter. She can shoot it. Very, very good scorer, very good shooter. Atlanta, my number 4 team. Number 3 is the New York Liberty. I don't know how long I'm going to hold on to the fact that they're the defending champions, because that shouldn't always be my go-to. They're still a force in the East, even with Jonquel Jones gone. They're still a tough squad to beat, still a very sound offensive squad, but they have to be careful. Their third option is not here. It's hard to replace the finals MVP from last year, a very solid front court player. But New York is that squad that has the mental capacity to do so. They are my number 3 team. And number 2 is the Phoenix Mercury. 5-game winning streak. Alyssa Thomas is back. Satu Sabali is playing very well. They're getting a lot of great play from their rookies. They've got some great play from the bench. They can shoot it well from the perimeter. They're a tough squad. Phoenix is my number 2 team. And number 1, of course, the Minnesota Lynx. They've been able to win without Nafisa Collier there. They miss Nafisa Collier. It's hard to replace the Defensive Player of the Year last year and the runner-up for MVP. But Nafisa Collier, she'll be back. With her being back, Minnesota will be tougher, but they've played well. Without her, Kayla McBride has assumed a role on this squad. Alana Smith, Courtney Williams, they're playing good basketball. They've stepped up in Nafisa Collier's absence. Minnesota is the number one squad on my power rankings, and we go to the schedule as we will see tonight. We've got a good bit of games tonight. The Minnesota Lynx taking on the Atlanta Dream, the Indiana Fever taking on the Dallas Wings, Chicago taking on the Golden State Valkyries, the New York Liberty taking on the Phoenix Mercury, and the Connecticut Sun taking on the Seattle Storm. On Saturday, Washington versus Dallas. And then Sunday, more big games being played on Sunday. Got more of a big schedule here. The New York Liberty taking on the Atlanta Dream, the Chicago Sky versus the Los Angeles Sparks, the Las Vegas Aces taking on the Phoenix Mercury, the Connecticut Sun against the Minnesota Lynx, and the Seattle Storm versus the Golden State Valkyries. And on Tuesday, the Commissioner's Cup will be played. The Indiana Fever will be taking on the Minnesota Lynx. And remember, the winner of the Commissioner's Cup played in the finals last year, and that was the Minnesota Lynx. They won it. They played in the finals last year. Could that be the same story going into this Commissioner's Cup? Ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap for WNBA Friday. Thank you for joining me. Run back this episode. Run back the episodes for Boom Broadcasting, 3 from Deep, the Dugout Debrief, Hoops and Helmets, It Stinks, Wrestling of Destiny. Run them all back. Make sure that you get it all in. Catch the Nightcap with Malvin Off with Mike. Make sure you're watching the Boom content. Like, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend. 541 subscribers. And our 1-year anniversary is going to be next week for Boom Broadcasting. Make sure you are there for it, for more content, more information, more fun with us, the Boom Crew, and me, Podcast Smitty. Thank you for your time. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the sports. Enjoy it and come back with us. I'm Shannon Smith, and this is Quick Hits. Can't fall off, now they holler he'll turn, thinking I'ma sell out, talking just to feel heard. I never listen, although they say it's strictly